All right, I just want to give you a little off-the-cuff update, long-term update on the iPad Pro's Magic Keyboard. This is the new model. I've been using it for quite a while now, and I have some thoughts. If you're thinking about buying one, I know it's a big outlay. These are expensive, so I want to make sure you have all the latest information from somebody who's been using it for basically several months. First things first, I don't feel like the new iPad Pro would really feel fully pro to me without this particular keyboard. I've used so many different iPad setups, and if you look at my current desk setup Tour, which is already a little bit out of date, I had an interesting magnetic interface where I could charge the iPad itself without the keyboard and use it kind of as either an iPad with the keyboard and mouse that I had there with universal control, or kind of as a display there to enhance how many screens were at my desk. That turned out to be a pain because when I want to take the iPad Pro with me, or when I want to take it off of whatever stand it's mounted on and actually draw on it, or take a screenshot to annotate it, or do some handwritten notes or something, then you just have to have that simple and easy. And this actually keeps things very simple and easy, so I can rip off the screen, put it back, let the iPad be the transformer that it is, while also having something that looks cool on my desk. I never get sick of this cantilever design here. Very briefly, if you haven't signed up for the Daily Tech newsletter, by the way, that's something you need to do immediately. Free, comes out on Fridays, doesn't waste your time. By the way, it comes with some free wallpaper every week, so why would you want to miss that? Whether I'm traveling or this is just sitting on my desk, this never stops looking good. It's sort of iconic at the moment. This is something that is definitely an iPad. When you look at it and you see somebody else's house and you're like, oh yeah, that's the iPad. And it looks good. And for the most part, I use it on a flat surface so it doesn't fall over. And even on the desk, if I'm sitting there tapping, even in the top right or left corner, it doesn't fall over. For me, the function row has been really nice. That was something that was missing from the previous version. Really like the dedicated mic button if I want to start dictating or if I want to access Siri. And I like how it's multifunctional. Tap versus long press, that's cool. I also like the media keys. It's nice to be able to not have to go up and swipe down from the top right corner and control things on the screen. It's nice to have some actual tactile buttons to just press that are always there right in front of you. And then there's the trackpad. The trackpad is amazing. It always sets the standard for me when it comes to iPads and third parties. I've tried a lot of third parties over the years, both the keys and the trackpad, and nothing is better than this trackpad in my experience. Now, you could argue that it's a little bit smaller than what you get like on a Mac, and maybe it's too small. For me, that hasn't been the case. And from everything from the haptics to being able to click fully in all the corners, the gestures are just so smooth. A lot of people look on Amazon or something, they're like, oh, there's a keyboard case that also has a trackpad that does gestures and is really clickable and stuff. And then they get it and it was really cheap and they're like, oh, this is actually junk. You can't just go by the looks or that it has a feature technically, because this is just night and day better and different than every other keyboard case out there. If you're watching this clip, it's very likely that you own an Apple device. And if you do, and you'd like to learn how to be more productive, I've got a course for you. It's called Learning to Be Productive. And it's gonna help you get more done in less time with less burnout in the Apple ecosystem. I'll link it up down below. If you're gonna get a keyboard, you want it to be an amazing typing experience, and this is an amazing typing experience. Now, I'm not just saying that. I've said for years that the Magic Keyboard has been my favorite way to type on an iPad for ever since it came out, basically. Now, the last version I enjoyed so much, somehow I do actually enjoy this version all the more. There's just something satisfying about the keys, and I know it depends on who you talk to. Some people are super into their mechanical keyboards and they just can't fathom switching to this. I also like mechanical keyboards. I've got a bunch laying around, but here's the thing. When it comes to something that's portable, I want something like the Magic Keyboard. In fact, I crave it. If I was out and about and you had some kind of a portable slim version of this, it wouldn't be portable or slim enough. This is great at the desk, right? But when I'm out, when I'm traveling, I'm not optimizing for the satisfaction of the key crunch. And not that this isn't satisfying, by the way. The way that these keys press, I love. I find it really, really enjoyable. As much as I like my MacBook keyboard as well, there's something about this keyboard, this version of the Magic Keyboard that Apple has put out for the iPad Pro that's just my favorite. It's my favorite Magic Keyboard typing experience from all of Apple's Magic Keyboards. And that brings us to the materials and the looks. Is this sturdy? Is it a high quality accessory that's A, gonna last you a long time, and B, look good for a long time? Well, let's cover the first part first. Is it gonna last you for a long time? I feel like these materials are very worthy of the high price in terms of you're not gonna have to go out and buy a replacement every other year. I think this is something that's gonna last you for the lifetime of your actual iPad Pro itself if you treat it well. The actual aluminum, the metal inside and the keys, I don't think you're gonna have any problem with that. Like any Apple device, you're gonna show some finger oils on the keys. That's just gonna happen. And you could argue that black is worse than the white keys. Ironically, sort of, that lighter key style, you would think that would show more dirt and stuff, but I don't know, the oils seem to show up more for me on the darker keys, but that's neither here nor there. I actually really like the white Magic Keyboard, to be honest. But what Apple doesn't really show you very much in the marketing is the back, like the cover part that's on the reverse side of where you type, the protective side. That's this, and it's that same sort of rubberized, I don't even know what the actual material is, feeling stuff that you're familiar with. You look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I know what that's like. Apple has many covers that are very similar to this. And for me, it shows a little more dirt than I'd like it to. It gets a little dirtier. Now you can wash this off very easily. For this, the outer part, I actually prefer the dark because the white gets pretty stained up and you have to use something like a magic eraser to kind of clean off some of the scuffs and colored stuff that gets on there. It's backlit now. Previous versions weren't. So I really like that. If there's anything that I wish could be different, I wish that Apple could add a USB port on there that wasn't just for pass-through power. So I appreciate that I have the pass-through power port on the Magic Keyboard. That comes in handy because it frees up the actual port on the iPad itself for a hub or some accessories, whatever. But I run out of ports all the time. I talked about this with the Mac the other day, and the reason that I have to have an OWC Thunderbolt port at my desk is because I just can't get enough Thunderbolt ports. So either I wish Apple would build at least one more port into the iPad itself, or make this port not just a pass-through charging port, but something I could plug in actual accessories to. That would be killer, especially on the go. So we'll see what happens. Let me know. That's kind of what I got for you right now. If you have specific questions, drop them in the comments. I'm curious to see what your longer term outlook is for the new Magic Keyboard. Do you like it? Do you not? Is it worth the price? For me, I know this is a steep price, but if you can afford it, I think it's worth springing for. The Logitech I've tested extensively. You can look at my past content on that. I don't know. I just like this case the best. It's my favorite.